Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Tuesday night, and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. I feel like it's been forever. It's been at least a week. I think last Friday there was a storm here, and I wasn't able to broadcast, so I am a little off on my timing. Also, I'm a little bit off on my camera. Let me make adjustments there. There we go. It's just annoys me if it's not just perfect. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to create some art tonight, and I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you guys, but we'll make up for it tonight because, like, I am ready to go. So last Friday, I was going to work on this gorilla that somebody had requested, and I'm just going to pick up where I left off on that. I'm going to use some charcoal. And we're going to make a really cool gorilla. Meanwhile, we're going to chat in the room. I see the kids in the room. We got Rome Dog and we got Cabin. That's plenty for a party. So I'm just going to jump right in. As you can see, I'm using my brown paper that I use sometimes just to create like kind of a mid-tone color, just for free. And then the charcoal will be the dark areas, and and I'll use some white charcoal for like highlights. So that's the gist of what we're going for tonight. But really, it's just catching up. It's been a week, so I really do miss doing 2 streams a week. It is weird not to have done that. But yeah, got to get a little splash of bourbon in there first. So I think my approach to this, I'm not going to do like some of the charcoal techniques that I've been doing, particularly the wet charcoal, just because this paper probably wouldn't hold it. But I am going to use like some of my techniques of kind of starting off with a like a blending stump, just to kind of get an idea of where things are, like really softly. Fill out some form to this guy. I don't know. It could be a guy, it could be a girl. I'm just doing the face of a gorilla. So, hey you. I don't know what that means. Is that AU gold? Speaking of gold, who's been watching the Olympics? I am enjoying me some Olympics. I'm pretty impressed with the United States. We're like cleaning up. Um, I don't watch the Olympics every time that they come out. Like I feel like I missed the ones for 2020, even though there wasn't really anything going on in the world besides COVID. Like everybody was stuck at home. I don't know why I didn't watch them. Wait, did they even have the Olympics in 2020, or did they postpone them to 2021 or something like that? I don't remember. All I remember is that like I didn't watch them. I don't know. Maybe I was busy or something like that. I do feel like they moved them to 2021. So who asked for the gorilla? Great question. My dad actually asked for the gorilla. He said he had seen a couple of signs of gorillas like over the last couple of days. So he said, "Hey, you're gonna have to draw a gorilla. You realize that, right?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe." And he's like, "No, no, you have to draw a gorilla." So this is for my dad. My dad, as much as I give him grief, my dad is one of my fans, and I like giving him grief though. Any damage or flooding in your area, Larry? Yeah, I feel like the bad storms and stuff have been all over the country, especially down there in Florida. So, Larry, I hope you're doing well. Around here, we got some wind damage, but nothing too bad. Like I'm always like you wouldn't think in like this foothill of the Appalachian areas that I live in that we would get many tornadoes, but we actually do. Like I would think that tornadoes would be more like in flat areas, but for some reason we seem to get our fair share around here in Kentucky. All right, so how long was it raining? Yeah, I feel like down there in Florida it's pretty bad. Hopefully you're not flooded out or anything like that. This is a good way to keep in touch, like check in like is safe this channel. Let the world know that. And speaking of checking in, like Hater disappeared on us for a while. I wonder if he's doing all right. Last I heard, He said he was going to check back in, but I haven't seen him since. Kind of cool to get a proof of life from him. So this is just kind of like figuring out where the general head of this creature will be. I know it doesn't look like much yet, but it will. Few limbs down, lots of rain. Now you live in Central Florida, if I recall correctly, right, Larry? Or is it more on the coast? You don't have to give like please don't give your exact location. I just seem to recall it being like Central Florida, just because like I was like, hey, I used to live in Central Florida. Um, Gorilla face. Last time I drew a gorilla, I, I made the mistake of calling him a monkey, and I don't think that gorillas are monkeys anymore. I think they're apes, and the difference being, as far as I know, one has like a tail and the other doesn't. I don't understand the real difference. I don't know why I can't call a gorilla a monkey. I call my dog a monkey. I don't know why I can't call a gorilla one, but I caught a lot of flack over that, so I'm trying to improve, try to become more educated. Let's see. I think I forgot to turn on this light over here. It could get kind of dark. 1 second. There you go. It gets kind of dark in this room this time of day. Yeah, because again, I remember that was that was when I was exploring my white pencil on black paper and just getting started with that. And I really like how that gorilla turned out. So if you guys want to go back and watch that, it's like sometime last year. I don't even know when, but it came out pretty good. Because I can wanted it, and I sent it to him. I was actually drawing it on his birthday. So if you want to know when Because I Can's birthday is, just go look up that picture. So I sent it to him for his birthday. I like to, like if anybody has a birthday and they want to celebrate it on this show, whatever I'm drawing that day, if it isn't already spoken for, I'm happy to send it to you guys for your birthday. I think that's kind of cool, you know. I like my birthdays. My birthday's in December, and you know, I don't know why I always have since I was a kid, but I always like to feel special on that day. Like I don't know, in my household, it's like king for the day kind of deal, and I think it'd be kind of cool, like if I'm watching a YouTube stream or something like that, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool picture and stuff. Hey, it's my birthday, and then the person sends it to me. I would think that's kind of cool. So so definitely, like if anybody has any birthday requests, my email address is on the about page or on the profile page or channel page, but I don't know what's called. Um, if you have a birthday request of something you want to draw, be it a gorilla, be it your favorite animal. I can do people, but I can't promise perfection on that. But certainly if it's an animal, I'll tackle that. And then, just let me know and we can celebrate your birthday together. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, every one of you guys. Because, like, it's either belated or early birthday for each and every one of you. Like, it's an early birthday for me. Because mine's in December. Don't you guys forget. Because when it's my birthday, you guys should be extra nice to me. Because I'm king for the day. Anyway, that's just how we celebrate. I don't really actually do much. I might go out for like a meal or something like that, but even as a kid, I remember, so like as a kid, my older brother was born like the week after me. And then my dad's birthday is actually the day after mine. So like my birthday is on December 4th, my dad's birthday is December 5th, and then my brother's is December 11th. So we're all like kind of crammed in there. And I remember as a kid, even when we had like birthday parties, I remember I had a birthday party at like McDonald's back in the day before they got rid of like birthday parties. I don't know, maybe they still do them, but they used to make a big deal out of doing birthday parties at McDonald's. But anyway, I had to share it with my brother. Like every birthday party I ever had, because there wasn't a ton of money to spread around. So if one of us was getting a birthday party, it was like cram everybody in there, which is fine, I guess, as a kid because like we all had the same friends. It wasn't until like I don't know, like high school or something that he, my older brother, started getting his own friends, and most of my friends were like people I knew from Boy Scouts, and I don't know, a couple of people from school, but uh, I was an army brat, so we didn't really have a lot of friends from like school or whatever that kind of carried through. That's kind of frustrating for like if any of you guys are in the military and you have kids and stuff, just keep that in mind, the effect on the kids because so I just noticed this nostril needs to be kind of moved up. So I just wanted to call attention to that I am moving it up just because that's what's kind of cool about doing the picture this way is that you can kind of move things around before you're kind of like set in stone on them. So in this case, I'm doing like some facial reconstruction on this nostril. But yeah, so like when you're an army brat and your family moves like every 2 years because they're stationed somewhere else, and like you don't make like a lot of friends from friends that you grow up with. Like some people, they know people that they've known since they were kindergartners or something like that, or you guys always went to school together ever since like elementary school or something like that. We didn't really have that kind of stuff. You would think kids could keep in touch even though like they're moving around and stuff like in the military and stuff, but I don't know. We never really did, or at least I never did. Is that when? But I think some McDonald's still have playgrounds, Larry. But yeah, like this was a pretty cool playground back in the day before everything became like safe. Like the playgrounds I played on, like at McDonald's, they were everything was made out of metal, and it was not safe. Now everything's like plastic. I guess if you hit your head on plastic or something, you'll be all right. But back then everything was metal. I have noticed. I don't know if this is probably intentionally. Like every playground that I ever go to as an adult now, they all have these like soft padded areas for like when kids fall. We didn't have any of that stuff when I was younger. Basically, if you fall on a playground, you're busting your head, and you're lucky if you survive. I wonder how many kids have like actually perished on playgrounds. It seems like there'd be a lot just from like falling off of things, like losing your wind or something. But yeah, no, they were not safe playgrounds back when I was a kid. They were fun though. Like I remember, who's the I don't know which character. Everything was designed like the characters, right? So like whatever whatever burger cop character that was not the Hamburglar, like the robber, but there was a cop. I don't know, Mick Copper, maybe maybe it was like Mick Copper or something like that. But whatever the McDonald's hamburger cop guy was, like there was like this little you could crawl up into his hat and you could peek out through his mouth or something. It's kind of weird to describe it. It sounds kind of weird. Um, but I always thought that was cool. It was probably like maybe 6 feet off the ground or something. But to me as a kid, I was like, man, I've climbed a mountain here. There was like, I think there was like a little rocket ship too that was the same deal. It was probably like, I don't know, 6 feet off the ground that you can crawl up into the top of the little rocket. But to me, I mean, I felt like I was going to the moon. At the finale, we got two certificates, one for flying the farthest, and Oksana had the closet birthday to four. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I feel like somebody's birthday's out there coming up soon. Happy birthday. So we got a bit of a grumpy looking guy here. What I like about doing gorillas, to be honest, I should really draw more gorillas. Because they're so close to being human that you have the same sort of ranges of like expression. So um, they're not all grumpy, but most of them look grumpy. But there's some gorillas out there that have like a goofy face. There's gorillas out there that look serious, and some look like, I don't know, just a wide range of expression. So I really should draw more gorillas just so that I can practice those expressions. Because if I get good at those expressions, maybe I can draw better humans. I feel like some of my humans turn out okay. I'm just not happy. I kind of gave up on them after a little while just because they weren't working out. They weren't working out the way I wanted. I still want to do portraits. I'm just not there at the moment. All right. So I feel like that's going to be the general area of his face. Where's Ernest? Sometimes he watches, sometimes he doesn't. I don't know. He might pop in later. I don't know. You know how old people are. My dad's um 70 something. I don't know. 70 something. He's over 70, I know that. So he might be watching TV or something. I don't know where he is. We went for a walk in the woods the other day. I think it was either Saturday or Sunday. I found out there's a wildlife management area near where I live, and I mean by near where I live, I mean like right down the road. It's like, I don't know, I can get there in like 10 minutes, and I had no idea. I kind of knew that there was a wildlife management area, but I didn't know that it was so cool. You know, like there's places around to go walking in nature and stuff, but this place is kind of untouched, and what's kind of neat about it is like you can go out there. It is a wildlife management area, but there's like hunting out there. There's like uh, basically if you go hiking, it's all like unformed trails kind of thing. Like it's not like developed or anything like that. Like you might find it like a state park or whatever. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm like, hey, let's. The thing is, we were looking, we were looking for skulls. I know that sounds weird, but we. So I enjoyed doing that wood burning thing the other day. I'm still gonna finish my video of like when I went to hide the wood burning thing that I did. But some of the people that do pyrography that I'm impressed with are people who burn on bones. So I would really, really like to actually burn designs on a skull. And I don't know what kind of skull, but like raccoon skull or rabbit, or if I'm lucky enough to find a deer or something large or something like that, that would be kind of cool. I think you can order these things online, but I don't trust that. So, like, I wouldn't order an animal skull online because I'd be afraid that even if they said they don't, I'd be afraid that they have unethical kind of ways of obtaining these skulls. Like I wouldn't want to support a place that just murders animals so that they can sell skulls on the internet. Um, I know that sounds really morbid, but I would definitely not want to support something like that. So my idea is, well, if I go out in the woods and I happen to find it, then it's meant to be. Um, uh, so So that's what we were out there for. The reason I started laughing is because the other thing is I've gotten in the habit of looking for roadkill, and I realized that I have become a full-fledged Kentuckian just from that aspect alone. That I am looking for roadkill in Kentucky, but it's for art, Like I'm hoping to find like some sort of possum or raccoon or something like that that got ran over and didn't smash the head. The head's still intact, and I can take the skull and bleach it and sanitize it and stuff like that. And I know it sounds disgusting, but it's for art. So that was my idea. So we went out there just basically to walk around, but the excuse was that we were looking for a like a skull, like a deer or something like that, and we figured, hey, this is where people go hunting, so maybe we'll get lucky. But we didn't. We didn't get lucky. Instead, I got covered with ticks. There were like 6 ticks on me that I had to pull off. Um, my dad didn't get any ticks on him, which is weird. I think they crawled up in his beard, to be honest. But he says he didn't get any ticks. So I thought that was the least of my problems, or the most of my problems actually, because like they were pretty easy to get off. I wasn't too worried about it. I've been covered with ticks before. They don't really bother me. Um, but now I realize that I must have got some sort of insect bites because I've got little things like, I don't know if you can see them on here. They're kind of hard to see. These little like almost looking like pimples kind of things. I got those all over my like big rashes, but it's not like localized. So it's not like you get poison ivy or something like that, and it's localized to like one place. Nah, it's all over the place. So I think I got hit by some baby insects. So I don't know. So like hanging out in wildlife and stuff isn't all it's cracked up to be. If you aren't into nature and you don't like to be bitten by animal insects, well, animals too probably, but if you don't like being bit by insects, you should not go out into nature. I, on the other hand, I do like going out in nature, so I suffer it, but it does kind of suck because I'm covered with all these little insect bites. Which isn't the first time either. I once went camping and apparently I slept on an insect bed because I woke up the next day and my entire ankles were covered with these like red marks, and then the red marks turned into like little black marks, and I'm like, what's going on with the black marks there? And it turns out there were insects living in my legs, like in my ankles, and they were like literally hatching. It was disgusting. So there's a horror story. But it was fun. I enjoy camping. It's just part of being out in nature. It does itch, but I'll live. Take some Benadryl, be okay. Okay, Larry says, Jeremy, if I send you a set of horns, it will come with a portion of the skull. Hey, if you want to send me some to decorate for you, that'd be kind of cool. I'll make a show out of it. You get the art. I get to work on the art. It'll be great. So yeah, like if you've got I don't know what the legalities are of sending animal parts through the mail or whatever, so make sure you look into that. Like, and certainly don't send me anything like exotic or whatever, but if you want to send me something to decorate for you, I'd be happy to take that on. That'd be kind of cool. Um, I like doing art for you anyway, Larry. I feel like I still owe you some art pieces, so shoot those through, and yeah, I'll be happy to decorate it. That'd be cool. I just want to use the I want to use the it's always hard for me to say pyrography. Pyro. I just want to say pyrography, but I don't think that's right. Um, I want to use that machine some more. I do want to create some more stuff to hide out in the woods. That was really rewarding. That's going to be in my video coming up, but some dude found it with his kids, like they were out walking in nature and they came across it, and to me that's kind of cool. Made his day. I think he had a daughter out there with him. Made the daughter's day just to kind of come across it. Um, so I like that kind of stuff. Rum Dog says, "Looks good, Jeremy. Looks like my ex-wife." Well, I am sorry about that, Rome. I'm sorry to be drawing your ex-wife. I was gonna say this looks like every family member that I like to poke fun of. 8 point from Cromwell, Kentucky. Oh, cool. You come up here to go camp, like hunting sometimes? That's kind of cool. Yeah, it does sound like you need to make a road trip to Kentucky. That sounds great. Even if you don't come all the way up to central Kentucky where I live, I'll come down and meet you somewhere. I've been wanting to take a road trip. What's it called? Mammoth Cave. Mammoth Cave is only about 2 hours away from here. It's a really, really, I think it's like the largest underground complex in North America. Don't quote me on that, but it's a huge cave system. I've been wanting to go down there and explore. I haven't ever been there, which is odd. I've been caving before with Boy Scouts. In fact, I camped out in caves, so I'm pretty familiar with caving just in general, like splunking as they call it. Uh, I've developed a little bit of claustrophobia as I've gotten older, probably from flying on airplanes and being crammed into those seats. Just kidding. Um, but when I was a kid, we used to do the wild cave exploring, where you're basically going through like little areas that are maybe like a foot or two wide, and stuff that would definitely give somebody claustrophobia if they didn't have it already. Um, so I think I'm still pretty good with closed in areas, but I haven't really checked that because like I don't know, it's been I don't know, I want to say probably like 30 years since I've been caving. So I don't know. People change over time. But it would be kind of cool to go caving. Of course, these are developed caves and stuff like you lots of bats and mammoths. Yeah. So I've gone through actually I take this back. So like I've gone through some small caves recently. There's Carter Caves. Like you guys aren't familiar with Kentucky, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. But there's a place called Carter Caves. It's completely undeveloped. It's out towards eastern Kentucky, and they have like tons of bats and stuff. And I should go back out there. It's been a number of years since I went out there, but they're not very long. Like you can basically walk through it in like a couple minutes. Um, but yeah, Mammoth Cave would be very cool to see bats. I love bats. In fact, I should draw some bats. All right, I know there's not like a lot of definition to this guy yet. He probably just looks a little bit of a scribble, but we're gonna work on that here. Now, how are we doing on time? Yeah, we're only like 30 minutes into this. That's cool. Let me see what happens with this hard circle. Yeah, this will work. So I kind of want to get some definition to this guy now that I've got the basic form of him and the basic location of everything. Pretty happy with the nose to the eyes and all of that. So the next step is to kind of like add some definition to things. This is a hard charcoal, so it doesn't make very dark lines. And I think this is kind of cool for just kind of developing more the shading that I have already put in. Just kind of quickly sketching in areas that I think need to be darkened and more well defined. So obviously, like the mouth, it would be a little bit darker. I don't want to like really press down and force this to be too dark. I've got a softer charcoal pencil that I'll come back and do that kind of stuff with. I just want to, kind of better define some of these areas. Get the little grimace in there. Yeah, road trip. Full Press says, "What do you mean? I know all about Kentucky. It's the chicken in the pan, right? We do have some good Kentucky Fried Chicken around here. And the thing is, you don't even have to go to KFC to get Kentucky Fried Chicken around here. Like, there's a lot of places that are just good at chicken. So, of course, we're famous for the Kentucky Fried Chicken, good old Colonel Sanders. But I was mentioning just 2 weeks ago, my younger brother had shown up in town, and we took him out to um, the wife of Colonel Sanders. So, little known story there. After Colonel Sanders sold his chicken like restaurant off to what would later become like the corporate KFC, him and his wife decided to retire, but she still wanted to continue cooking. So she opened up a restaurant of her own in Shelbyville, which is near Frankfurt. I know, doesn't mean anything to you guys. Um, but they have phenomenal chicken, and I would say it's probably better than KFC. It just feels like more authentic than KFC because like KFC isn't the original thing anyway. I know they call it original recipe, but it's really not. It's changed over time. It's changed just in how they make the chicken. So I don't like maybe the actual like herbs and stuff are all the same, but how they make the chicken is different. And I'm a fan of like the old ways of making fried chicken. I can't eat too much fried chicken anyway. I'm like as I get older and stuff, there's only so much grease I can eat. But I am a fan of fried chicken. And I am pretty proud of this state's contribution to fried chicken. Like, we're not the only people who create fried chicken. Like, most of my extended family is from South Carolina, and I've grown up with fried chicken all my life. But I am proud of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm sure they added a bunch of cheap, addicting poisons. Well, so there's a joke around here that you know we're also known for a thing called burgoo. Burgoo is basically like a meat stew, kind of like an Irish stew, but it's just kind of made up of whatever meat you have available. Like in modern times, it's mostly beef, but you can throw some pork in there as well. But back in the day, I'm near 100% certain that burgoo was made with roadkill. Like that Kentucky people literally went out and found, animals that had died by the side of the road and threw them in a pot, and that's how we got burgoo. And we're kind of known for that. It's kind of like it's one of the there's a couple of dishes that we're known for here in Kentucky. Burgoo is one of them. Hot brown, that's another one. Maybe you guys have heard of that one. That one's I'm a fan of hot browns. In fact, I like whenever I go to different restaurants, I like to try their hot brown just to because they're all made differently, but the basics are still the same. It's kind of an open faced turkey sandwich with like a Mornay sauce, and it took me. I think a Mornay sauce is kind of made with Parmesan cheese. It, I want to say it's a lot like Alfredo, but I don't know the difference. But it's kind of like this cheese sauce. So you have turkey on like Texas toast, drenched in like a cheese sauce, and then it has like roasted tomatoes on the top and bacon. Oh, it's just it is it's really really good. Larry says, Jeremy, do you think Ernest would want to do a collaboration with you on the rack, burning on the horse? Yes. So he's actually the one that's more into the pyrography. Pyrography. He's wanting to carve bones and then also do wood burning on them and stuff. So if you want, us to collaborate on something together, me and him, absolutely. And in fact, I don't think it'd be difficult for me to get him on this stream. Um, you know, like I actually doing stuff like I I think he'd be all right with it. Like I'm a little shy. I don't think my dad's shy at all. He used to like be into like historian like he used to be like with reenactors and things like that and like living history people, and he would give speeches in front of them like all the time. Like he would dress up in like 1800s top hat and suit and all that stuff and talk about what life was like in the mid 19th century. So that was always his thing. So I don't think he'd have a problem coming on YouTube and talking to you guys while we're both burning you know burning some skulls. I just think that'd be cool. Like there's this one lady who always shows up at all the different art shows, and she does pyrography, and I'm just a huge fan. I don't think I could ever reproduce the kind of stuff that she does, but it's very cool. And then I don't know, just turning turning like bones and skeletons and stuff into art. I know it sounds kind of morbid, and it probably is. Like you have to be comfortable with being haunted by animals because there's probably like some sort of pet cemetery vibe going on there, having you know disturbing animal life and bones and things like that. But so LARPer who pretends magic isn't real. Yeah, basically. But anyway, I think yeah, I think I could get my dad to come on and collaborate on a pyrography thing. Let me know if the stream is like messing up. It looks like it might be lagging, but hopefully not too bad. Hopefully it'll come back online. I know my internet is kind of sucked around here lately. I actually think I don't know. This is just me being like not knowledgeable at all, but I think like the weather, the heat and stuff has been driving the internet being spotty. I don't know how that works. In my mind, it's like expansion and contraction of wires and stuff like that. Stream is okay over there. Oh, okay, cool. I've got like a preview over here on this screen, and it's kind of lagging, but that could just be on my end. Appreciate that, Rum. Thanks. But I have felt like like maybe the weather and stuff has kind of been affecting the internet around here. So this guy's face is starting to come together. That's pretty cool. The way I like to draw pictures is I like to kind of start from the bottom up and just kind of build up layers. I'm not the only artist who does it this way and stuff, but I really like this technique of just kind of like starting with, well, you saw with smudges, they kind of represent the form of, like, in this case, the gorilla's face, and then kind of building up layers to get more detail in there. And it's almost like rendering. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen how a 3D movie is made. They have the way 3D CGI works is they have wireframes that are kind of like actual chicken wire where you can mold it into like different shapes. So like if I was making this guy in a 3D, I could mold the wireframe into the head shape or the torso and so on. And then they come back over that and they render finer wireframes, and then eventually they add material to it and textures and stuff like that, and then you get these realistic, I don't know, like Shrek or Iron Man or whatever the case may be. Drawing it doesn't have to be, but it could be a lot like that. It's certainly how I like to do it. Some people like to draw each individual line, like they'll start with this eye and they won't move on into to the other area until they've completed that eye. I think that works fine for doing like a really super realistic picture. But what I find is this works a lot faster, and I like being able to work on, the picture as a whole. So like I'm developing this picture everywhere, not just working on like one part and spreading out. I like that approach to it. Um, and I like the idea of like it's almost like sculpting where you're building up features of the thing that you're trying to draw. So we're sculpting this little gorilla guy, and I think it works. So I'm gonna take a moment and kind of smooth out some of this stuff in the eye area, just because I'm gonna go ahead and really render these eyes. I like saying that word render because that's what it feels like, and I like that because it fits that whole metaphor of 3D graphics, which I played around with. I'm not really great at making 3D objects, or like the program is Blender that I use, and I've used it to create some 3D art. For those of you who follow the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, I made a Forrest Fenn treasure like chest and some trees and things like that in Blender. It was a lot of fun. I was trying to figure out how shadows might affect it because there were some photos of the treasure having been found, and I was trying to figure out if we could figure out where it was based on shadows or like when it was found based on shadows and stuff. So I had some success with that. But anyway, in the process, I got pretty familiar with using Blender and learning 3D modeling. It was a lot of fun. And this does feel like 3D modeling to me. It's a good metaphor, at least. And the phase that I would consider this part that I'm working on now, it would be the rendering phase. And I'm not the only one who calls what I'm doing now rendering. It's just I want to point out why I call it rendering. Hey, Packer Jack, how's it going? Because Ken says, looks very good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like drawing really expressive animals like this gorilla here. It's one of the reasons why I like drawing dogs. Dogs have a lot of expression going on. A lot of features in their face that make you think that they're having a thought of some sort. But gorillas are very human-like, or at least like my family. They look like my people. I'm drawing my older brother here. I feel like whenever you're drawing like a monkey, you have to say, "Yeah, I'm drawing your family member here," or something like that, just as a joke. Optimus Primate. They have another Transformer movie coming out. Like, aren't they done yet? Like, how much can they milk a franchise? I like Transformers. I grew up with Transformers. Transformers are the best. Um, I don't know if they need as many movies as they've made, but I guess they keep making money. They talk about superhero fatigue, talk Transformer fatigue, more like it. I really wish that the GI Joe um, thing took off. Like they tried to make a GI Joe movie. I think they tried to make two of them, and neither of them really panned out, which is kind of a shame because that was my toy of choice. But um, Michael Bay's Transformer movies when they first came out, I was like, wow, this is a spectacle. I really like this. But you know, how many are there? There's like a million of them. So maybe they'll do something new with it. Anyway, so render die, not render die, big difference. And there's like even more that we can put into this eye to make it look more realistic. I really like doing eyes, like you guys know this. I really like doing eyes because those are really where the expression comes out, where you can get some of that realism in there that really sells the picture. I always talk about how I don't really care about making a super realistic picture or a perfect picture or anything like that. My goal is always I'm shooting for convincing, right? So if I can convince you that this is a gorilla, I feel like I've done my job as an artist, or like the minimal viable job as an artist. I have to create a convincing representation of a gorilla, and then I can get creative from there. So like I can make like a colorful gorilla or a stylistic gorilla or something like that. But the minimal job is to convince you that this is in fact a gorilla, and the eyes really help sell that concept. So always got to get those eyes in there, and it's a little late, like 44 minutes in, but I usually try to get the eyes in pretty quick just so that you have something to kind of focus on while I work on other things in the picture. But it's okay. I felt it was important to get, you know, the gorilla spaced out in this not spaced out like it like he's on drugs or something like that, but just kind of, you know, spaced into the picture. Um Gorilla would go ape for those. Full press says actually gorillas are apes. What did I say? Because I made that mistake before. I called gorillas like in the first time that I drew a gorilla, I called them monkeys, and I know now that that is incorrect. I am aware that they are apes, but I may have slipped up and called them monkeys again. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, even though I'm the only person in this room. I'm still learning zoology in addition to still learning artistic skills. I am enjoying. So this is a fun fact about my journey here. Over the last year and a half, like I started this channel about a year and a half ago with the idea of like just being more creative and learning to draw better, um, improving my craft, I guess. And one of the fun little aspects of this that I wasn't expecting is that I've learned so much other things just from observation. So like while drawing this gorilla, I'm making observations about a gorilla's face that I would normally never do. Like if I went to the zoo and I looked at a gorilla, I would not be making, this sort of like these sort of observations about how a gorilla's face is structured and, you know, like if you had asked me to draw a gorilla from memory, I probably would have given it big bushy eyebrows, but they don't really have big bushy eyebrows. They have fur, but it's kind of like it's actually kind of missing on this brow. This their brow is kind of like almost furless. I would not have thought that if you had asked me to draw one from memory. So just little observations like that to me is science. I know technically I'm doing art here, but I'm also making observations as a scientist would. Um, I'm not trying to be pretentious and pat myself on the back and saying, "Man, I'm a scientist" or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's kind of the same stuff. You're making observations, you're taking recordings, you're testing things. So like, is the distance between here and here correct? I'm looking back at the source. I'm like, is the lighting correct? Um, so to me, that's science. So I that's an added dimension to this that I wasn't really expecting when I started all of this to be participating in science to a degree. That's not to say that this isn't like, art. It really is. And, it's an interpretation of a gorilla. It's not perfect or anything like that. It's not a photo representation of a gorilla. So there are some differences, but anyway. Why do gorillas have such big noses? Told this joke before. I don't know. Why do gorillas have such big noses? I feel like there's a good joke here. I'm waiting for the punchline. Go back to this lighter one. All right. I am going to add for the first time in this picture a little bit of white highlight. Okay, so in a picture like this where you're using toned paper, the paper itself is your midtone, right? So this is like your neutral. Then you've got the shading or the dark areas with the charcoal. And then because you're using the brown paper, you can then come back with this white charcoal at, AKA pastel, and add highlights. Like you can go to the store and buy white charcoal. It's not actually charcoal. I mean, I've mentioned this so many times. It's kind of redundant, but it's basically pastel. There is no such thing as white charcoal, but it'll do the job. And those three things together create this really cool effect. And then there are some other areas of the face that I'll use some white highlight on as well, but I'm not at that stage yet. But that gives you like three layers at least, three recognizable layers. Um, and it's just a little touch of highlight. You don't want to go overboard with it. I don't know. Whatever the picture calls for. In this case, I don't want to go overboard with it, but the uh the light is really catching those eyes there. So that's pretty cool. Do we get the punchline? Because they have very large fingers. So they have these big noses because they pick their noses. It's not funny until you explain the joke. No, I'm just kidding. Like I always do that though. Like I'll tell a joke and I'll be like, no, it's funny. Trust me. Let me explain it to you. And it's like, and then it becomes not funny. I'm terrible at telling jokes. But that's a great joke. They have such that's funny because as soon as you said that joke, I felt like I need to finish up these nostrils here. But these nostrils are such big, so big because they have such large fingers because they pick their nose. So I mean, it is kind of interesting. Like I know that these gorillas are distant relatives. Back on the evolutionary like timeline, I wonder how their noses did shrink. Like how do you get like a human being out of the space? You can see the human being in the eyes and the mouth and the expressions and how they act and things like that. It's just kind of curious to me how the body morphs into like a human being over time. We're talking like I don't know millions of years. So it had the time to do it. I'm just saying it's kind of strange to me. But yeah. So this is kind of like in a way I'm doing a family portrait. What do you call a gorilla with a banana in each ear? I don't know. I can't wait for the punchline on this one. From Dog says, I got two DoorDasher accounts deactivated this year. Oh man. Just don't draw a cocaine gorilla. Oh, cocaine gorilla. Man. Gorillas are beasts. They're like fierce animals. They will tear you up. I know they look adorable, but if you ever watch on YouTube, like them going, like they are monsters when it comes to just like brute strength. One of the other things I like about doing animals like this is, the leathery nose. It's not just a nose. You get these like little creases through here and stuff. I like that. By I like that, I mean I like drawing that. I like drawing the leathery features of a gorilla, not just their face. The last time I drew one, I drew like their hands and a lot of creases and cracks and stuff in their hands, which are fun to draw. By fun, I mean like I don't know, like they're fun, but they're also very stressful because I want to make sure that I get them right. Not really stressful, but potentially stressful. Okay, they're stressful. I'll admit. What do you call a gorilla with a banana in each ear? Anything you want. He can't hear you. These are great. These are the best jokes. What do like is that a true story that gorillas eat a bunch of bananas or is that just like a stereotype? Like gorillas in the zoo, what do they actually feed on? I don't know. It could just be a bunch of bananas. I feel like they probably try to balance out their diet so that's not all because oops, until I spilled the drink. That's a lot of potassium, right? In bananas. Like I feel like just one type of thing isn't good in any diet. I feel like they probably balance it out with other things. So you see, I throw down charcoal and then I come back and I use this blending stump to kind of just smooth it out so that it looks, um, well, smooth. But I leave some of the texture in there because in the nose there is actually like some texture. And then I like to lightly pull it out so that it creates like a three-dimensional, because like the nose is, well, it's three-dimensional. It's kind of like a tube on the outside here. Like down through here and stuff, a little bit smoothed out. I do like to leave a little bit of texture in there because again, it is like a leathery feature with little nooks and crannies and stuff like that. Kid says, Jeremy, those eyes are absolutely amazing. I love it. Absolutely. Appreciate. Yeah, there you go. I appreciate that. Ah, that's tough. Try to say that. Everybody at home, try and say appreciate. tough. Hey, Mama Q, how's it going? How's every stuff? We're just drawing a gorilla. I was wanting to do this on Friday. This was a request. My dad actually made the request. He kept seeing signs for gorillas and stuff, and he's like, "Well, that's a sign. You have to draw a gorilla." And I'm like, "Okay, I can draw a gorilla." He likes to give me challenges. Um, but I was meaning to do this on Friday, but because of the weather, I couldn't do it. I actually miss you guys. Like, I don't like going a full week without seeing you guys. It's like I'm a grown ass man. I should be able to like live my life without you know, buddy. There you go, cough it up. My dog has like coughs up fur balls like my cat does. Anyway, as a grown ass man, I should be okay without you guys for a week. But no, I miss you guys. Like a week is too long to go without a stream. I like this schedule of two a week. I don't know if I ever get too busy to do it. That's a different story. But right now, I do like doing the two a week thing. I feel like I should draw another dragon after this and call it Godzilla, and then I would have Godzilla and King Kong because this guy's practically King Kong here. I think I'm just about done with this nose. It's looking pretty solid. I really do like going back, and I encourage you guys to do this. Go back and look at the beginning of these streams, and look at the finished result, and just kind of like scrub through and kind of like do your own little time lapse bit. It is really fascinating to me how these pictures come together, where they go from just basically being blobs of charcoal to being pretty detailed pictures. This guy looks pretty realistic, I think. Gorillas eat termites, huh? Or just like insects in general, maybe? Yeah, because I was thinking like they don't just eat bananas. There's no way. I don't know what they eat at a zoo, but I always like to question like things that I like. I don't know, elephants eating peanuts and stuff. That was something I always thought was true growing up because of you know that's what I was told. The older I get, the more I realize everything they ever told you was bullshit. It's all bullshit. None of it's true. Like gorillas don't eat bananas. They eat termites. They eat insects. They eat all kinds of crazy things out in nature. They probably also eat bananas. Around the eyes, there's like these layers of just ridges and stuff that are so fun to draw. I just love drawing this kind of stuff. Like even when I'm doing my dragons or lizards or whatever, these creases, I guess they are. Yeah, creases in the eyes. Or just like drawing old men, you know, these crow's feet and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And you get like again a lot of expression out of doing that. So that's pretty cool. Hi Lorraine, how's it going? Love the eyes, thank you. Yeah, those eyes are pretty rendered. I like it. Yeah. I always do this. I always draw this side first, and then I have to reach across the page to work on the other side. But this is probably good for like developing artistic skill because like when you have to reach across the page, you're not you're not relying on like forced muscle memory or like forced hand positions. Like a lot of people when they try to learn to draw, they try to learn to draw upside down. Um, which I can appreciate. I like the idea of, not forcing yourself into some sort of muscle memory in your hand or something like that. You want to get uncomfortable with it. And I think that's probably a good idea. Like if you're good at drawing shapes, then you should be able to like just flip something upside down and be able to draw the shapes. And then when you flip it upside right, it looks like a gorilla because you got the shapes right. You're not drawing what you see. Like I'm drawing a gorilla because I see a gorilla in the reference picture. You're drawing shapes, you know. I'm not saying that's what I'm doing, but I should be able to do that as an artist. Um, and there's other people out there who do train themselves to work that way, which I think is phenomenal. I think that's awesome. Apes would stick sticks into the mouth to fish out termites. I have seen that, or I've seen that with I thought it was bears, but maybe it was gorillas that I saw that with. Yeah, they use tools. That's right, primitive tools. They do eat fruits, leaves, barks, roots, flowers, vegetation. Do they eat meat? Like um if I found a gorilla out in the woods or the jungle or whatever, um, would it eat me? I don't know. I know it'd bash my brains in. Like if we got into a scuffle or a disagreement or something, I'm gonna be the loser in that situation. But I don't know, is it just gonna leave me out there to rot, or is it gonna take me home and cook me up and eat me? I'm joking, of course. They don't cook. Yeah. You guys ever watch those Planet of the Apes movies? I love those movies. The modern ones, like the uh, first one in particular of the modern series, where they kind of explain how there was like a virus outbreak and that led to the Planet of the Apes and stuff. I thought that was really good. Those movies are rock solid. The later ones and stuff, they kind of just felt like post-apocalyptic. That I feel like somebody wanted to see a gorilla running around with a machine gun, and that's why those movies were made. But the first one, where they kind of explained how the monkeys kind of came to be, not monkeys, apes. Well, there were some monkeys in there too. It's okay to make mistakes when you say monkeys instead of apes, in my opinion. Damn dirty apes. I like the Planet of the Apes movies. Yeah, I like the concept of Planet of the Apes. You see me scratching here. That's from those freaking insect bites from going out in the woods. If you go out in the woods, you should wear some sort of bug protection or something. Like I had a long sleeve shirt on. I don't know what the problem is, but they're all over my legs too and everything, and I was wearing pants. Just bad luck, I guess. But yeah, those Planet of the Apes movies, those are pretty good. I feel like those will always do well, even if they remake them several times over. Just because the concept is pretty cool. That was an original um, by I think Rod Sterling wrote that for Twilight Zone, um, the original story, and then they kind of developed it further into like a movie. I don't think it ever was actually on. I might be wrong, but I don't think it was ever on Twilight Zone. Like, I'm a huge fan of Twilight Zone. I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but um, I am a huge fan of the black and white Twilight Zones. That used to be my thing. Every time there was a holiday, like Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or something like that, all the TV stations, because they take the day off as well, they would play these marathons of Twilight Zone, and they probably still do. I'm just saying that like it doesn't matter anymore because all these things are available to stream. But back in the day, that was a big deal for me. Like I would look forward to Thanksgiving, where I just eat a bunch of turkey or whatever, and then I go and like spaz out in front of the TV and watch Twilight Zone. You know, Same thing with New Year's. Like, what do you do on New Year's if you're not into sports? I never really watch sports and stuff. So, yeah, I would just watch these Twilight Zone marathons, and I think I've seen all of them. I think I've seen all of them. I don't remember all of them, but I certainly remember the classics and stuff. But those were like big deals to me. Some of the early sci-fi, but really good storytelling too. Like these weren't like cheap stories. They were really well told. Like I don't know if Rod Sterling wrote all of them, but he certainly wrote, you know, enough to make the show out of. But just great sci-fi stories. Like so much sci-fi owes itself to those original Twilight Zone. But anyway, Planet of the Apes. So the whole reason I mentioned that is Planet of the Apes was one of those Twilight Zone stories. And I'm glad they did develop into a movie because the movie was really good too. The movie was just like like almost social commentary, but in a unique way. All good sci-fi is social commentary. Like, don't let them kid you. Gotta have like maybe not like a modern message, but definitely have to have some sort of philosophy. Like like if you have a philosophy degree and you want to earn a living, you're probably going to struggle with that. But if you have a philosophy degree and you wrote screenplays or books or something like that, that's a good use of your philosophy degree, I think. That's all Badger. Look, I'm sorry, you made me hiccup. You made me hiccup with that one. So replace Cocaine Bear with Bath Salt Badger. That would be amazing. That would be a perfect sequel. You know that creative team that did Cocaine Bear. I love that movie, by the way. The creative team that did that probably would do a Bath Salt Badger. Elizabeth Banks is, I think, the executive producer on that, but it's definitely her film. I think she would do that. That's fun. Hey Heidi, how's it going? Hey, everybody's coming in on the ice. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad I did the ice early. How are we doing on time? All right. I need to develop this side over here a little bit, I think. Because he has an ear. I want to get the distance right. So I think that's about where the ear is. I don't feel like I need to spend a lot of time on the ear. I just want to kind of get a suggestion of it in there. And that's probably the last recognizable feature. And then I can kind of just build out the rest of his face. Oh, Amazing Stories. That's another good one. Yeah, Amazing Stories. Um, the original Twilight is the OG that really got me into just sci-fi in general. Because, like I said, I used to watch that just marathon it. But also, um, Amazing Stories. What was it on Showtime back in the day? Outer Limits, I think. Um, all of these were awesome. Like they were just great stories. Like you never. I like they've done reboots of Twilight Zone. I think what is it? Something Peel? One of those guys did a modern reboot of Twilight Zone. And I think it's doing all right. But those original stories are just the best. And all the different spin-off type shows and stuff like that, just that format, where you're telling like little bite-sized stories. I like that. That probably would do well as a YouTube channel, to be honest. Like you weren't tied into like a full blown story. It was just like these little snippets. Like I don't know. You'd have to be into horror, like the horror genre. But I always liked Creep Show for the same reason. Like they were these little compact bite sized stories. I don't know who made Creep Show. That might have been made by the same people who did either Amazing Stories or Outer Limits. I don't really know, but it's kind of in the same ballpark. as far as storytelling goes. But yeah, I loved all that kind of stuff. I've always liked sci-fi. Like I don't know, it probably comes from my parents. They were like really into Star Trek, so I got exposed to watching Star Trek as a kid, and I really like Star Trek. My show, and I wish my friends were around and stuff because they could attest to it. Was X Files back in the day? Every Friday night, I was planted in front of that TV, and so were all my friends. And I dare one of them to speak because that guy's going to get punched in the face. Um, we were watching X Files on a Friday night, and this was back before you could like, I mean, you could set up a VCR or something like that and record it. And I might have done that once or twice, but for the most part, it was like you had to be there, you had to watch it, you had to watch it in real time, and there were no breaks. You know, you couldn't just hit pause and go and grab a beer out of the fridge or anything like that. Or you wouldn't want a beer anyway because you want to be like focused on the story. That's how big X Files was. Um, oh, the Family Dog on Amazing Stories. Yeah, for real. Reindeer eat psychedelic mushrooms. Oh, that reminds me of a movie I just saw the other day. It's on it's on Amazon. It's free. So if you have Amazon Prime, it's free, and it's really made for adults. Like there's a lot of cursing in it and adult material. But if you get a chance to see Strays, that movie is hilarious. I think it got mixed reviews on like Rotten Tomatoes, but it stars Will Ferrell is like a is a dog who is abandoned by his owner, and then he kind of decides to take revenge. Again, it's for adults. Like if you're a kid, don't take the don't say Jeremy recommended this. I'm sorry. No, I'm only recommending this to the adults. But if you're an adult, Strays is such a hilarious movie. So make sure you go and check that out. It came out like last year. Again, Will Ferrell. Um, the mushrooms thing made me think about it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to tell you why that mattered. But anyway, it's just a fun little story. It's it's not like cinema or anything like that. It's just a dumb little comedy, but it was funny. I liked it. Adorable dogs in it too. Black Mirror. That is the replacement for that is the modern equivalent of good Twilight Zone type storytelling. And the thing about Black Mirror is it's so realistic. Like when you guys see that stuff, that is the future. That is the literal future. Um, like even some of the crazy stuff, like you know, the whole virtual reality kind of deal. One of the scariest ones that I thought was just oh man, just terrible. Is that one where I think it had what's the girl? Ron Howard's son, Bryce Howard, I think her name is. And it was all about how they had like kind of this social rating. Like everybody had a rating, and if you're mean to somebody or you're bad tempered or people just don't like you, you would get like a bad rating, and then that bad rating would mean that you have to pay more for like your apartment, or you have to pay more to like for your car or something like that, or you couldn't even like fly on a plane if you had a bad rating. Um, that kind of social like rating system, that is 100% the future. And if you don't believe me, I think they're actually doing that kind of stuff over in places like China, and things like that. Uh, I do think that is that kind of dystopian future is probably right around the corner. The things like I don't know, like where they tap into your brain and they have like the kind of Matrix reality kind of deal and stuff. I don't know how far that off. That's certainly something that they want to work on. The problem with the problem with sci-fi is that a bunch of little nerds watch sci-fi and then they go off and invent things. All right, and you know, like if you see it in sci-fi, eventually it will be true. And to that, remember the old flip phones? Why did we have flip phones? Because they had those on Star Trek. Why did we have iPads? Because they had them on Star Trek. Basically, if it's on sci-fi, it'll inspire somebody, and then somebody out there is going to go off and invent it. It will be something that's real eventually. So if they're doing Black Mirror where they have these little implants that make you have like virtual reality or something like that, someday that will be true because some little nerd is watching Black Mirror and they're gonna go off and invent it. And I don't mean that derogatory. I'm a nerd, so I just know how it goes. But yeah, Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror. It's so good. Such a good show. Thanks, Hoosker. They need to hurry up and make Star Trek replicators already. Then, yeah, for real. Well, I mean, so Trek replicators, they kind of already have that in some sense. So, like, where do you think the 3D printer came from? So, the 3D printer is a low key kind of replicator. And if you think that, well, yeah, but that's not the actual replicator from Star Trek. Well, what did they use the replicator for? They would like have it create meals sometimes and stuff like that. And well, guess what? They're out there 3D printing beef. That's a thing. They're 3D printing meat. They're 3D printing, probably vegetables or something like that. It's not just plastics. Plastics is probably the most common just because, like, it's plastic. It's easy to melt and form and things like that. But they're also, they're creating houses out of it. They're basically, 3D printing buildings and stuff like that. So, I mean, in some sense, that kind of stuff will be reality. It's kind of scary. I don't know. I have a little bit of anxiety over the future. I want to think that things are going to be great, but also I don't know. I'm a little worried. You mean this isn't VR? This might be VR. I'm a I am a student of and a fan of ideas that we live in a simulation. Um, I have gone all the way down that rabbit hole, and I can't argue against it, to be honest with you. So if somebody out there were to say, "Yeah, we're all living in a big old simulation. This is all VR. This is the Matrix and stuff like that," it's like, I don't know, probably. Um, and then I would add like, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool and all, but I still have to like get up and make money and pay taxes and stuff. Like, what does it actually matter if this is all like one big virtual reality? You still got to live in it, Still got to live in that world. Doesn't change anything, but it is fascinating. It's kind of cool to think about. Anything impossible? Yep. Well, almost. MJ says, "Hi, Jeremy. It's a monkey, cool gorilla. It's technically an ape, they tell me. I would like to call it a monkey, just because I'm so used to saying monkey because I call my dog monkey. But apparently, nope. This is a gorilla. So I'm just going to use this big chunk down here just to kind of put in some shading on or some dark areas underneath the chin, which will frame it nicely. And then I think I will add some, how are we doing on time? I think I will add some highlights and go from there and see where we're at. But down here, this is just kind of like darkened in area underneath his beardish area. And I feel like this could just be a lot more like carelessly drawn in. So this right here is like, I don't know, there's like a hard line here. And, you know, buzz that out. Go ahead and blend this a little bit. You're okay, puppy. Go down, lay down, Bear. Bear has entered her whining phase. I don't know if it's just like her age or something like that, but she's learned that if she whines, she gets what she wants. I don't know what that would be in the equivalent of human years. Terrible twos. I don't know. Lay down, okay? Lay down. Take a nap. We got more monkey here to draw. It could be because I keep saying monkey. That's my nickname for her. Are you upset that I keep saying monkey? Hey, chill out, monkey. An orangutan. Mhm. All the gals tried to flirt with the guys in high school on Saturday night, and they would all disappear to watch Star Trek and Saturday Night Live. They had, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have on Hulu all the original Saturday Night Lives. Like I'm talking about like back from the 70s and stuff. And that was fun to watch. Obviously, that's way before my time, but it was really interesting to watch because it has definitely gotten tamer over time. Like there was stuff that they had on the original Saturday Night Live that they probably could not put on TV today. Certainly not on like regular, like NBC or whatever. Maybe cable, but yeah, that was not a kid friendly show back then. I don't know if it's really kid friendly now. Yeah, I think it's kid friendly enough, but no, it was not back then. And it was kind of interesting to watch. I don't think it's still up there, but they had they had all the original, like back when um, Jim Belushi was on it. Jim Belushi, John Belushi. Um, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd when he was like a young man. I like his face. This guy looks cute. Saturday Night Live in the early 70s. Yeah, late 70s and early 80s. Yeah, for real. That was some cool stuff. Trying to think when I first watched Saturday Night Live. It's kind of hit or miss nowadays. Like I still watch it, um, but sometimes it's not funny at all. Like I watch it on the weekends and stuff if I'm not doing anything. Um, but it really is like hit or miss on whether or not it's going to be funny. Sometimes it's hilarious, like super funny, and then other times it's like it kind of misses the mark. But I guess that's true of all comedy, really. I mean, I'm definitely not a comedy expert or anything like that. I just, I don't know. Some things are funny, some things aren't. Like the new Deadpool movie, super funny. But then also some of the jokes that they obviously other people think are funny. It's like didn't really land for me. But all in all, that is a super funny movie. So I'm kind of thickening up that lip there just to kind of give it more of a three dimensionality to it. Yes, yes, girl. Give me maybe 15 more minutes, okay? Oh, you want to come up here? Go ahead. Give me about 15 more minutes, and then I will pay all the attention to you. I'm gonna give you all the pets. That sound good? Is that fair? I don't know why I try to negotiate with the dog. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so let's move this out. Oh, good. She's laying down. All right, so there is a little bit of tooth in here that you can see. I don't think you guys probably really see that, but I'm gonna draw it anyway. But of course, that's all really dark, so it's okay to just kind of blur it out. That's all right. It's just a namer. think this guy looks pretty good. Looks pretty realistic. What do you guys think? All right. Um, so there's some like dots in here. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna try to stipple it. I guess the equivalent of pores. I don't know. Like, are these pores? I don't know. But just, I'm just putting in a few of them just so that you know that this is kind of stippled. Somebody who had more time and like inclination than me would probably like do like a lot of these little dots and stuff, but I think it's enough just to get a few in here. Also just like doing that knocking little, like somebody's knocking at the door. So that's cool. I'm gonna go back to this ear up here without reaching too far across the picture just to kind of smooth some of this out. I'm never very good with the ears, except puppy ears. I like drawing puppy ears. But I think I can make this one work. Yeah, I think that's fine. Looking good, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Thank you. He won't stop looking at me. Yeah, I mean that's the whole idea, right? You create art that just kind of stares at you so that people are drawn into the picture and engage with it. That's the strategy, right? Like you guys have been to art fair. Well, if you haven't been to art fairs, I suggest going to art fairs. But sometimes you just look at or just art galleries or museums even, especially museums because those are where the masters' works are. Um, go to go to one of these museums and just kind of stare at the art and let it draw you in. You guys have all seen the Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where part of his little day off adventure is to go to the art museum and you know how was his name, Cameron starts staring at that piece and it starts zooming in, and that's how everybody's relationship with art should be. And I mean like really good art, not like my art. My art isn't all that great, but like something that somebody like John Singer Sargent, for example, one of the best portrait artists, my favorite portrait artist. Um, Go look at his art. That stuff draws you in. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. I promised some more highlights. His uh his nose is pretty lit up, so I'm going to again, you're building up layers, right? So like the shadows, those are all in the charcoal. Heidi says, looks fantabulous. Great work, Jeremy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So your shadows and your darkened areas and stuff, those are all the charcoal bits. When you're working with toned paper like this, you kind of get a layer for free. Um, if you were on white paper, like your layer would be the highlights, but you really have to kind of carve into it. When you're working with tone paper, you automatically get these mid ranges, so you don't really have to work so hard on that. Then, you put it in your circle, you've got your shadows, and then it's just a matter of adding some highlights, and then you get three layers working for you instead of just two. Like if you were drawing on white paper with like graphite or something, you really only get those two tones. You have to make it work, and you have like more work to do. By doing this, you know, you get that highlight layer, which I like, because it really makes things kind of, I don't want to say pop, like that's overused, but it kind of like just works. And you don't have to go nuts with these highlights. I try to use them sparingly. I just want to kind of bring some pieces up a little bit. And it's mostly in the areas that I want to draw your attention to. So like that white really brings your eye into it. So like if you're looking at this picture, are your eyes over here? No, your eyes are focused in on like those white areas. Those dots are called vibrissae. They function like whiskers. Oh, okay, all right, yeah, they kind of look like where whiskers would be, but you know, human beings, we have pores in our nose and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I got some pores that I can probably use one of those like little pore cleaner things. I don't know. As far as I know, I don't have any whiskers. Well, I've got whiskers. I've got a beard. Sometimes a hair goes astray, kind of like a whisker. So really highlighting this nose here just because like in the reference picture, you know, kind of lit up. Also allows you to kind of add to that texture. So that texture that's going on here. So like um, I want this little bit here to kind of have a little speck of white. So you know that there's like ridges going on in here. You know there's ridges because some of it's hitting that light. So it's a little bit more elevated than the things around it. That's the idea. Kind of highlight this little side here because it's standing out, and then kind of bring that light into the rest of this so that it's kind of concave or convex. Sorry, when it's going out, I think it's convex. I don't know. You can see it's been a while since I've been in school. I don't know all the different terms. Again, little specks in here of white, kind of the reverse of the specks of black. Give him a little milk mustache highlight on his mouth. It's not just the art, it's the extra connection you are giving us with this YouTube channel. A chance to know you makes the experience that much more than just the art. Plus, it's fun. Thanks, Heidi. I appreciate that. I feel the same way about you guys. Like, um, most of you guys are regulars. You pop in here, at least weekly. And I feel like it's a lot of fun because we get to communicate. I get a better idea of who you guys are, what you guys are into. And, you know, I think that's kind of cool. Like, I know that it's just the internet and we're like talking through the, like video and stuff like that. And it's kind of a one-way conversation because like I'm voicing, but and it's just you guys chatting in the room. But I feel like there's a bit of a connection there. I feel like you know, this could be like a party where we're all in the same like I don't know, a coffee house, a bar, or something like that. I think it's kind of cool. One of these days, if I figure out the tech, it would be kind of cool to like open it up where, you guys can come in. I probably have to use like StreamYard or whatever those other channels use, but you guys could call in or something like that and talk to me in real time. That'd be kind of cool. Like not just text chatting. Be easier to read. Highlight pizza. This is again like a pastel pencil. I've got a stick pastel. Let me try stick pastel. I think that'll probably make this a little bit of an easier job. But yeah, just these like little pastel marks really just kind of create some highlights. Now, through up here, again, it's all about the areas that are catching that light. Now, you could use this just to highlight things in general, but I'm trying to catch all the areas that are catching that light just to really create some three-dimensionality to this guy. So like I mentioned earlier, the brows aren't really eyebrows, They're not they're not hair. They're kind of the same bits as like the nose and things like that. And there's some hair in there, but it's mostly like hairless. And it really does catch that light. And you can use the white pastel to kind of create texture as well. So like adding little specks through here, you do create some little highlighted fur, I think. You can create like lines and stuff that shows sort of creases. Um, Nose hairs are similar. Rum Dog says agreed. I'm hearing road trip. Yeah, big old road trip. We should have like a big art hangout where we all show up somewhere and just create like art together. That would be cool. I'll bring the street chalk and we can just like draw in the middle of the road or something. Geppetto looks a little intimidated. Yay! I don't know. He's been going through a mood lately. I don't know. Like ever since he got eyeballs, ever since Geppetto got eyeballs, he's been having a series of emotions. I don't really know where he's at these days. Rum Dog, you're all the way out on the West Coast. That's cool. Um, I've been to California twice. I've loved it every single time. I just love being out there. One of my bucket list items is to drive the Pacific Coast Highway. I think that would be a lot of fun. I put that on a survey today. Like a survey asked me, if you could go anywhere, what'd you do? I'm like, I- I'd fly out to San Francisco probably. Nah, actually, I'd start in LA, I think. I would fly out to LA. I would just take the Pacific Coast Highway all the way up the West Coast, all the way up to Oregon. Oregon. I don't know how you pronounce that. But yeah, I think that would be so cool. I've driven up the East Coast so many times. Uh, what is it? Route 1 or something? I don't know. But I've driven up the East Coast plenty of times. I would love to drive up the West Coast. And I don't think I would want to just drive in one state. I really would like to do the whole coast because, like, I would like to go up to. I've never been up to Seattle or Oregon or anything like that. I've had a couple opportunities, but I ended up going to like Vegas for a conference instead of going up to Washington, for example. So it's on my bucket list. Well, I think we're getting kind of close to calling this done. I'm in Georgia, so you have to pick me up on the way to Larry. Oh, that's heading south. I would love I think you mentioned on air. Maybe I shouldn't mention just in case you haven't, but where the area you live, kid, I watched a YouTube video on that town nearby. Um, I kind of want to go back there just to because it's been a while. I think the last time I went there was 2009, and I love that little town, that little Georgia mountain town. So I'll probably head back that way at some point. My folks have property in South Carolina, just real close to North Carolina, and they go down there all the time, and they're always wanting me to go with them. I might do that. Probably not. Well, yeah, okay. I was wondering if I should do this with that or the stick pastel, but this works. Let's get like a little bit of light going here. Um, just kind of represent you know, the massive chest of a gorilla. But I think this guy is mostly done. I mean, I can continue adding like little fur areas. Um, this technique is also good for drawing any kind of furry animal, dogs, cats, bears. Just as you can see, it's just really good for rendering hair. general, which, gorillas have a lot of. Basically, the rest of his face is just like a dome of fur. Like if I were to draw the entire gorilla here, I do feel like I need to add a little bit of white over here just to kind of give you an idea of the shape of his head. Because, like, again, I'm always talking about as an artist, your main job is communication. Like, I don't care what you consider yourself, you're still a person who needs to communicate certain things. In this case, I feel like I should convey to the viewer the dimensions of the head, the shape of the head, and stuff like that. So I wouldn't use black for that because this is all catching the sun, but the it works to use that little white pastel. But now you know the shape of his head is basically like this big old, almost kind of like a cone. It does kind of dome up and then kind of comes out and bushes around his beard ish area. So yeah, I think we're about done here, guys. I can continue, adding like little bits and stuff, but I think this is pretty good. I don't want to overdo it. I like the style of it to being, where things are suggested, not over rendered. Got my dog over here going crazy because I keep saying monkey. Monkey, 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 monkey. She knows her nickname. Who's a big old monkey? You a big monkey? You a big monkey? Dog back there digging. Yeah, so I think this looks pretty good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I am gonna kind of wrap this up. We're at the hour 45-minute mark. You guys have been really patient. Again, I'm really sorry that I couldn't make it on Friday because of the weather. It was storming really bad, and the power kept flickering. Eventually, it became okay. I probably could have jumped in on a stream, but I was like, well, I don't know. People would have to stay up until like 11 or something on the East Coast, and I didn't want to put you guys through it. But and then like I could have done a stream over the weekend. And it's just I was kind of busy. But I don't like going a week without seeing you guys, so I'm going to try to avoid that in the future. You guys are a lot of fun. I really enjoy talking to you guys. I like seeing you guys hang out with each other in here. That's really awesome. So I will do my best in the future to make sure not as much time goes by. I think that looks pretty good. Kind of darken this in a little bit more. I want you to see that his chin kind of comes in a little bit this way and then back out this way. But hopefully you guys are watching the Olympics. The equestrian stuff's not doing as bad as I thought. Like we always end up losing to Germany, but I think we picked up a few medals, so that's kind of cool. But hopefully you guys are enjoying that kind of stuff because that's what I've been watching. I think that wraps up this week. All right, that's good now. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed me working on this gorilla. I think it turned out pretty nice. I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah, I think the only thing I would change is maybe change the layout a little bit so that you see more of the gorilla, but I don't know. This is just a fun little exercise. Hopefully you guys got the gist of how it works, where you have the dark areas and the highlights and the midtones and everything. It's a cool little way to do drawings. It's a very popular style. A lot of people do it this way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Pirate says, fantastic tell, Leroy. I said hi. Great. That's awesome. Kid says, this will look great wherever your dad decides to hang it. I'm not sure he wants to hang it anywhere. He just told me that like I need to draw a gorilla. So that's what we did. Obviously my dogs need to go out, so I'm going to wrap this up. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Tuesday night. I know that some of you guys have school and work tomorrow, so I will cut this off. And dogs tearing down the doors. I will see you guys Friday. I will make it every effort to make it this Friday to make up for last week. And I'll see you guys there. All right. Don't know what we're going to work on. We'll see. Hey, if anybody does have any birthdays coming up and want to shoot me a suggestion of something that you want drawn for your birthday, my email address is on the channel page. So feel free to reach out. I love suggestions. So anyway, I'll see you guys then. Bye. Thanks, everyone.